Alrighty, everyone. Good morning. Varel here, Flow Roofing. Flow out of Portland, Oregon. And not to be confused with our Tennessee brethren, Phil. He's out there slinging, killing it in the metal realm. And he does some steep slope asphalt as well. But holding the standard, representing good, Phil. Keep it going. Keep it flowing. He's out of Tennessee. We actually had a couple people from Tennessee reach out. He says he's had a couple people from Portland reach out. So it's the interwebs that connects us all. The point of this video, just to save everyone time, if you're not interested, you don't have to watch it, is product that we prefer and why. How we install it, the use cases when not to install it matters a little bit. And, you know, the wins, the losses, the hopes, the fears, the dreams, the wins, the failures over time, the lessons learned. And so this is a roofing business, in case anyone was wondering. And so what we do is we protect assets from the top down. And at Flow, we take an inside-out approach, which is intentional because when I got into the industry, you know, everyone's just slapping product down and kind of leaving the customer hanging, right? Like, well, was that it? Like, now what, right? I've got this new roof. I got a warranty. Cool. Granted, roofing's not sexy. It's not like you're buying a car. You get to go jump in your vehicle. You know, if you got like a electric something you're excited about every morning, you're like, I don't know, I don't have electric yet, so I'm like, I don't know what the vibe is. But I'd imagine you're like, oh yeah, I get to take, you know, the Starship Cruiser out to the gym again. Like, I would be stoked to ride electric. I feel like every day. We'll see. We're gonna jump on that train, I think, here this year. So but that being said, the idea is that we wanted to buy into one brand, one parent company that has all these other little brands in the envelope. And at the end of the video, we're going to go ahead and talk about, and we're going to have to break this up, and if we're going to post it with this in the background. Or no shit, we could just literally post this, I guess. I'm kind of fed up with Canva. Probably lost like 20 plus hours of content. Original, just first take, no cut, no edit, like the soul of what I wanted to get across. And Canva was like, sorry, not saving that. So maybe we just keep it as this single take just to play it safe. Don't trust you anymore, Canva. I'm sorry. So materials, products that we install. Flow here, we don't pretend to be the master of everything, right? We specialize in membrane metal and asphalt, shingles. Okay, I don't even like. We don't tell my guys now. We're not touching 2-ply, 3-ply. Peel and stakes and torch, which your mud bit, your granulated, your peel and stick roll out roof. Asphalt base. It's just not a long enough lasting product. The install under perfect conditions can still have issues. We're not open flame certified, right? So our insurance company's like, better not be lighting it up there. And I'm down with that, right? I don't want to pay whatever they're going to try to charge for open flame. Now, you know, there's some hot fluid applied companies still out there doing their hot mops, and good for them. You know, we don't want to touch that. You guys can have all of that. Green roofs, don't mess with the green roofs, okay? Don't like the idea of standing water and plants shooting roots down onto my membranes. Not going to touch it. Not even going to try to get educated about it, okay? Won't even try to repair it. Like, that's just someone else that can have it. It's such a small percentage of all the roofs out there too. It's like Not even going to bother. Okay, so I'm just saving everyone time here. If you're trying to get educated about that stuff, sorry, it's not here. So my EDPM rubber roofs, okay, again, just not something that I'm trying to get certified on. You see more EDPM rubber roofs getting replaced by membrane single plies like TPO and PVC, we're going to talk about here soon, than people putting up that rubber stuff. Now, it's cheaper, right? And in my mind, I don't even know enough about the product, but I would hope that big manufacturers are recycling rubber out of landfills, which we'll talk about here in a second, because that's Malarkey's whole spiel. So one of the reasons why I started with Malarkey. So stick around. At the end of this, we've got a little bit of like unofficial insider trading knowledge coming. It's supposed to be like within the next month or something. It's already been released. It's public. It's not like it's insider trading, but that being said, we're going to go ahead and dive into the vertical of all these different brands that I love to install, because they help me sleep at night, knowing that my clients' buildings got the best that I could give them. And so we're going to walk through it. Everything but Firestone. We've kind of collected 4 out of 5 of these certificates over the years. And Firestone is an interesting one. If people aren't familiar with the roofing industry, it's in the commercial space even more, it's a tight club. The guys up there, they all know each other, the membrane manufacturer reps. They're all jumping from big company to big company. The companies that I look up to locally in Portland are the McDonnell Weddles and the Snyders. Those century-old companies now since then have had, been tainted by private equity, unfortunately. But the idea is to get to 100 years, to create a foundation so wide you could build a pyramid so it'll last the test of time, right? And you do that with high standards and great products, right? Ongoing training and dedication and focus to holding the line on quality control. And I mean, that's all I can train my guys on. In the project management side, say, okay, cool, we're going to train our crews on this. Now you got to hold them accountable, okay? Pictures don't lie. So seeing is believing. And so far, I mean, we're going to go over in subsequent videos down the road, as this summer starts to develop. I'm stoked to show you guys what we're going to be up to. It's going to be an honor. It's going to be a test. It's going to be a lot of smiles. It's going to be a lot of stress, a lot of sweat, probably more sweat than anything, which is weird. It's raining here. It's May 17th. And I mean, in the last couple of years, I feel like in May we were booming. And right now, seeing the trailers in the driveway, I'm like, this damn liquid sunshine, you can't do anything about it. It's part of the game. You got to roll with the punches. Call it going with the flow. Okay. So, we're probably going to push pause here in about 20 to 30 minutes or so, but I want to run through this, and this could be, more time than anyone really wants to give or care about when it comes to product. But, we're going to start on the asphalt side of things, because there's a lot of technology just in the one product and that being the one product that I bought into the earliest, now vetted by Roofing Insights and all of his nationwide industry-leading contractors to be the top 3 shingle in the industry, for a bunch of different reasons. But he didn't rank it. And this is where I go part ways. He didn't rank it as good as the ICO line. And now, dollar for dollar, the ICO Dynasty shingle may be pound for pound a better product, only because of price. But we're going to talk about it. Emerald Pro, Malarkey system. It's the fucking bee's knees. So I know when I train my inspectors, based on the ownership timelines or investment horizon, strategy of ownership. If someone's going to do a fix and flip, Malarkey's may be a little too much for you. Now, that's the issue with the industry, is these people that have like long, short-term plans and that's the problem with capitalism in general. You get these developers in new construction world. It's all a race to the bottom. So we wonder, like, how do we go from beautiful 1,000-year-old churches in Europe that are still standing to buildings that are crumbling within the first 5 years of construction, which is a whole nother topic. So that being said, though, if you use a quality product, and this is where I feel like Malarkey kind of sets themselves apart. I'm a fanboy. I fucking believe in it, right? So it's a Portland product, which is awesome. It's locally owned, and it's from the beginning had a foundation, a theme around sustainability, which means that it's not necessarily eco-friendly. You're still a petroleum-based asphalt product, but what Malarkey did since the beginning was necessary to even differentiate themselves apart from Gaff, Owens Corning, Certainty, the giants of the industry at the time, who already had maybe like a 5-decade lead on the new guys, the underdogs, right? I love an underdog story. And the Malarkeys, having come in, I believe at the time, they were like a window and door company, local to Portland. They're manufacturing windows and doors, and don't know the whole timeline of how they got into it, but when they started shingles, they found a way to reroute off gases from landfills, transfer stations, basically dumps, to heat up the asphalt. Furthermore, and I'm probably not since the beginning, but they were one of the first ones to come out with like a modified polymer. And that modified polymer, not only was the asphalt melted in a way that was just a little more thoughtful, they end up taking rubber and plastic out of landfills. And they say a 30 square roof is like removing like whatever X amount of tires and plastic bottles out of landfills. It's badass. What that does, though, is it creates a better product. It's not just to like tickle you and make you feel good, right? It's like that is their secret sauce. And since then, all manufacturers have jumped on board. So Malarkey is like an industry leader in the fact that they over-engineered the product since the beginning to differentiate themselves enough from industry giants to the point where you get a better product. Now, do you care about this consumer that has a 20, 30, 40, 50 plus $1,000 roof, right? Even the smaller single wides. Roofing's expensive, right? But you should care. Because when you look at your other installers' prices, you're comparing apples to apples. You're looking at your quote, you're going, A's okay, B's okay, C's okay. I can't really tell. One's Gaff, one's Owens Corning, one's Malarkey. Dollar for dollar, if everything's consistent, you're like, well, price always wins for most single family people, right? Unless you know and believe in the product you're installing, right? And so for me, back when I was an inspector, on the residential side, it was making sure people knew that I believed in the product that was being installed. One, but as soon as it really depends, everyone's different, right? So if you're talking to a GC or if you're talking to a doctor, you can get a little more like, pun intended, granular with it, okay? But when you have, a standard single family unit, dollars talk louder than product, right? They're all wondering like, fuck, we gotta worry about Christmas coming up and like just having a good Thanksgiving. Their priorities are not as long-term focused as you had hoped. And that's why I love the commercial side and my commercial clients so much more, is that I'm 8 years into this. I've seen some cycles. I've seen a pandemic, I guess. I haven't seen shit for cycles economically, but I guess kind of hindsight can look back to 2008. But there's some boomers out there be like, oh, back during the Depression. Those aren't boomers. Boomers are like what, 60s and up. So the sustainability aspect of the Malarkey shingle is unrivaled. Okay. That's not the secret sauce. They're not just rerouting off gases to heat and melt up their asphalt. They're not just creating a modified polymer that has the best granular retention. The granular retention, we're going to talk about at the end too, before we give out the nugget for the insider trading knowledge. Again, it's not insider trading. It's already been announced, but it's worth it for you guys. And we'll talk about it as we go through all these things. At least the brand involved. So it's not Malarkey. Okay, it's the parent company. That being said, the Malarkey shingle, the granular retention, when compared to other products, because the asphalt is been upcycled by rubber and plasticizers from plastics, it has better UV resistant properties. Okay, cool. That don't matter. The shingles, the most important quality of any shingle, it's not the weight, it's not the color, it's not even the granule, it's not the fiberglass mat, it's not the size. Can anyone guess? 3, 2, 1. It's the granular retention. I already gave you the answer, right? So that being said, if you lose your granules, you're exposing the shingle to UV rays that are going to bake and start to cook off your asphalt. Okay, it's going to make it brittle. It's going to wear out over time. That's the fiberglass mat that you see when you're looking up at the roofs and you're like, why is it shiny? It's because the granules are gone, because there wasn't granular retention in the first place, because the asphalt was shit. It wasn't holding on to the granules. Then you got a 30-year product on paper that's lasting less than 20, right? That's your bottom of the barrel, your bullshit. I could talk smack on all the other manufacturers and they would be like, okay, Flo, this and that, right? But Malarkey, because they have that upcycled rubber, creates a fresher product. And that's another reason why, being local, Malarkey, having also now multiple plants since, but being made in Portland, for any of these Portland folks out there, you go to Ken's Artisan Bakery or like Jinju croissants or something, you expect that pastry to be made fresh that morning, right? And they are, because you can smell it before you get there, right? And the Malarkey shingle is the freshest product in the Pacific Northwest. So from a standpoint of just longevity, like out the box, what's going to last longer, outside of any over-engineering we're talking about right now, Malarkey just going to be a fresher product. Okay, it's going to last the longest. We've found issues where, in the United States, there's a whole storm market. There's things that we don't have in the Pacific Northwest. There's hurricanes, there's tornadoes, there's extreme weather outside of, there's hail, right? So you'll notice all these shingle manufacturers have what's called an impact rating, class 3, class 4, etc., which doesn't matter in the Northwest, right? We get pea-sized hail if it's bad, if anything. And maybe you get a little wind if you're in the gorge or on the coast or something. But the wind rating matters, and we can talk about that later. But the overall product performance is only going to be as good as the asphalt in the shingle. Okay, so if you start with a good foundation, you can build something great. And the product itself, I'm repeating myself, because it's got that UV resistance, because it's got the rubber in the asphalt as well, it's a more flexible shingle. More UV resistant means that it'll last longer. Better granular retention means that it'll last longer. So Malarkey, like any other manufacturer, has, if you don't get all the bells and whistles, what they call a prorated warranty. So after 20 years, everyone knows that shingle is going to start to age, okay? Now, Malarkey gives you a 40-year product warranty that prorates if you don't do anything fancy, if you don't get the fancy warranty with the 50-year. By the way, the 50 year is a sham. We'll talk about it. The 40-year detail is prorated in the Malarkey shingle. Whereas like ICO, be maybe 30 years prorated, I always say knock 25% off that. That shingle for the ICO, probably 20 years in, might be done. right? They don't use as good a asphalt, right? And we install ICO, right? It's one of the cheapest products for any property person who's going to do roofing, which performs. And the reason why we stand by it is because Roofing Insights qualified it as shingle of the year, fucking 3 or 4 years in a row now as the shingle of the fucking year. So, you'll want to be a part of the winning club if you want to create more wins. Okay. So, and then comparing that pretty simply with Malarkey, like it's helpful to have something that may not make it to something that will make it. Okay. And so if we'll step into the 50 year after we cover it, but just from a paper warranties perspective versus like a reality check, the 30-year shingle is going to last 20 roughly, and some ding dong contractors be like, 15, they'll try to hustle you into a roof too early. Whereas the Malarkey, I think, and I'm only 33, I haven't seen a very long lasting or older Malarkey system, from like a full cycle perspective, I guess. So the Malarkeys, though, you should get true 30 years out of that. And that's even without optimizing the ventilation plan. That's without doing all the other things that we can do to make sure that shingle lasts better, right? So your SRI index, your lighter color products, your optimized ventilation detail. There's a lot you can do to get a better ROI, even out of a standard install. So from that perspective, so where Malarkey really shines, and this is only going to be relevant to the people that like to breathe air, which might be a couple of us. So shout out to all my hippies out there, right? I went and got the bio degree because I thought, I'm going to save the world, slap the wrists of all the Monsantos and shit, fucking up the food system and all this other that. And then I fell into roofing, and I was like, well, I still need to do something that helps me sleep at night, that makes it feel like I'm not contributing to as much as all the big guys or the people that aren't as thoughtful about it to like a carbon footprint, right? So I'm looking at the Malarkey product and I'm studying, they upcycle the gas, it's more sustainable that way. That makes sense. That's cool. They upcycle rubber out of landfills and plastic bottles. I'm like, whoa, it creates a better product engineering after that. Okay. Sold. And then, they have a smog reducing granule? Okay, so smog is a combination of what we call greenhouse gases, right? Back to elementary school, it's fucking up the ozone, it's punching a hole through it, it's reducing the ozone, and that's why you get, stronger sunburns. That's why there's apparently going to be all these different, I don't understand it completely, but the solar flares, they'll punch holes even harder. So it's like, we need our ozone, okay? And so the idea is that, thank you 3M, everyone knows 3M, right? The tape company. 3M creates the granules for Malarkey, and they create a smog-reducing granule, okay? Smog is a combination of different greenhouse gases, and what's the most common greenhouse gas everyone can think of comes out of tailpipes is CO2, right? It's the reactive species created by combustion, generally, okay? But then there's nitrogens, right? So in the biosphere, the nitrogen molecules are pretty strong, and some plants have nodules in their roots that actually have a symbiotic relationship with enzymes and bacteria to help fix the nitrogen into a nutrient from like NO3, and roast me if I'm wrong, to NO4, which is a plant nutrient, ammonia or ammonium or something. And that relationship feeds the plant, helps contribute to what it needs to grow. What's amazing also is, right, we like to breathe, right? Plants bring in CO2, they store the carbon in their structure, and they spit out oxygen, and that's what we take in. It's a beautiful relationship, so easily overlooked by pretty much everyone. And I mean, I'm like, I'll try go surfing this afternoon. I have to, even if it's raining, because I gotta get some fresh air, right? Like our shop's right here next to the tracks, and the trains that go by, they're rolling like three engines deep, and you can see the fucking plume of diesel going like 20 feet high. The compression is like impressive. I love the trains, but the air isn't exactly clean, right? So the noise pollution, the actual pollution, then you got like hundreds of thousands of vehicles driving by. You're like, we'll get a HEPA air filter or something up in here eventually. So the smog reducing granule is a catalyzing granule created by 3M that basically takes NO3, when combined with water as it rains, it creates NO4, which is the plant nutrient. Okay? Excuse me again. Malarkey says that it's like the equivalent of planting an adult tree every 30 squares on average, which is like your basic single family home. Doesn't that feel good? I like it. So when I got into the game, I was like, there's no one that can touch Malarkey's shit. Like, they win on all fronts. A longer lasting product, upcycle, more sustainable, creative, like just in the building of the product. And then 3M joins them. Probably 3M was like, hey, Malarkey's doing some cool shit over here. And so then they get checked out, right? I'm sure some of the guys at 3M were like, you guys going to sell Malarkey? We got this Swiss firm out here that's doing some pretty cool stuff. I don't know if they're connected or not. So Wholesome, and finally we get to the parent company, okay? Wholesome is this Swiss firm for building envelope material, which is a genius Swiss investor move. Let's invest in the products that continue to fail so we can sell more products, which is the whole model behind shingles, which is why you don't want to go 3-tab, because if you're in a building, if you have ever stayed in a single space for 5-10 years, you don't want to go as cheap as possible. You want the product to last longer, okay? So sub 5 years, we might give you a pass. Still don't go 3-tab. Whatever you do, please don't do 3-tab. So Malarkey, in my mind, unrivaled in almost every front. Dollar for dollar, all these manufacturers that got a monopoly on the industry, they're basically, what's a little strange, and when you're paying attention, you kind of see it, but everyone in the roofing industry knows. All the manufacturers, they announce their price increases almost at the exact same time. And I do have a little bone to pick with Malarkey as of like a month ago, because they were the only ones to release a second price increase in 2025. Generally, everyone else jumps on board. Malarkey, what the fuck is going on here? We announced the price increase because they announced the price increase. We trust the brand. They fucked us up a little bit. I feel like we lost credibility. For anyone that we told them, hey, there's going to be a price increase. Oh, by the way, they rescinded the price increase. Even if we forward the letter, us as a construction firm, we're trying to give people the best information possible. And granted, my GCs or my engineer clients, they understand a little bit differently than the single family. But like, if we're trying to build trust here and we say one thing and a month later we say another, by the way, it doesn't matter anymore. It's great net benefit to the consumer. Cool. You guys saved on a second price increase, even though the first one still landed. There's going to be another one. There's going to be more, always and forever, guarantee you. The credibility we lost a couple points with Malarkey on that one. So with that, we'll cover second double and triple laminates here after. And we're going to move into the Wholesome brand and the vertical that we're 4 out of 5 on. So we're pursuing Firestone. Unfortunately, it's a volume game. And so that club is like, well, Flo, you got to put up probably, 100,000 squares in order to be able to be a part of the Firestone club. Although I did have a guy come to me back when I was first starting. He was like, hey, you want to buy my company from me? And I'm like, why? And he's like, well, I got, a John Mann's, or it was either John Mann's or Carlisle, plus a Firestone certificate. Dude never called me back after we talked, because I bet you he sold that, right? And so he was basically selling the certification, which, and I talked to the rep about it, and he's like, well, I could low-key just like shut that down. I don't have to like certify anyone if I don't want to, even if they transfer the company. But would he have known? I don't know what the result was there, but it was interesting because out of the blue, guy calls, hey, you want to buy my Firestone cert? And I'm like, well, shit, I don't have $1 million on me at all, but it's cool to see what the guys are doing playing in that level. So that was an interesting one. And so anyway, Wholesome, brilliant Swiss firm, knows that recurring revenue spread out on decades for products that are bought at scale. You have warehouses that could have 7 figures worth of material on them when you include ISO, cover board, the screws, the plates, the membrane, right? So you could have entire HOAs that are giant 7-figure packages too. And so Wholesome has some very strategic investors. If you go and you look at them and you're like, there's some people there that know what the fuck they're doing. So it's I can guarantee you anything that the Wholesome investors basically brought over their industry knowledge of what's going on in the automotive sector, which probably people know by now that people sell vehicles and the manufacturers make more on the parts than they do the vehicles. I guess that's the model that carries over to the roofing industry. And so one of the reasons why all the manufacturers, they do these 50-year warranties, first off, which is a calculated roll of the dice, because national home ownership turnover on the residential side on average is 7 to 10 years. So that brand that you think is giving you a 50-year product because you think it's going to last 50 years it knows you ain't going to stay in that house that long enough to be able to honor that warranty, especially even after the second transfer. Because how many dream homes or people are settling into a forever thing where even in a 50-year time, there could be death in a fan where unfortunately, reality that the warranty turns over and that's the last of time it can. And so in order to do that, the manufacturers know they're never going to have to honor your damn warranty. So the 50-year warranty is a fucking scam. One manufacturer, again, did it, just like the price increases, and they all jumped on board. Now, what it is, just like the auto sector did, it's just a move so they can sell more products. So when you get the 50-year warranty in the fine print, you got to use all of their matching accessories, which is to say for them to sell more accessories, which they just subcontract to other private label people, slap their logo on the box, and you're bought into all these markups of these middlemen in the systems. And you wonder why your roof's costing $20,000. And your material package is 7 to 9 now, right? And it's because of the accessories that the manufacturers are locking you into, right? And so there's a whole move, and we'll talk about this in warranties in a different video, but now there's a movement for roofing contractors that can actually afford it. We're going to have to juice up the battery here and then pause things and come back. But there's a whole movement around bringing warranties in-house for the property owners, because the warranty issue is that you got maybe a 12 to 24 month turn on the warranty outcome, which is they're going to find ways around it. They're going to get out from underneath it. You're going to waste all this time. You're going to be even like more bummed, right? What if you're trying to sell the place? You're going to be fucked, right? So the roofing contractors are now starting to step up with their own in-house warranties, which you can do through roofinginsightsdirectory.com, which is a better, stronger warranty, a faster outcome for workmanship and product warranty than going through the manufacturers. And so one of the reasons why I like Malarkey, though, is because they're not pushing as much of those accessories. They give you tolerance in the fact that you have to use certain key accessories that create a matching system, but you don't have to use everything, right? And that's where our flow underlayment comes from, Roofing Insights and BEM. And a couple other items too. We can use our own nails, right? All these different little things. But we're going to push pause, get the battery up the juice, and we'll jump back on this. We're going to go through the Wholesome brand again. We got the announcement. We got a couple other details. We're going to go through membrane and all the other ones to explain why we install the products we install. Okay, so push pause. We'll be right back. Catch you soon. Alrighty, so if you guys could see how this phone's sat right now, you'd it could fall over. So I apologize. Have to plug in the charger. So we got to covering my whole 2 cents on shingles, which I don't know if you can tell, but I have strong beliefs that there's no better shingle than the Malarkey product. I've installed GAF, Owens Corning. I've been out to Owens Corning Claims. We've installed ICO. We've installed Certainteed. We see the spec'd out details that the GCs are putting out, the architects, and they're calling for certain manufacturers based on engineering spec, possibly past relationships, but and value too, like dollar per pound of shingle put up or square. The idea is that though we do not want people to replace roofs, you can see above me it says repair, maintain, and what's not on here, which this should be restore before replace. Okay, so the idea is that roof preservation is the way to the promised land with the relationships that we're trying to build. And so in the commercial space, again, this is one of the reasons why I absolutely love my commercial clients, is that their investment strategy, their time horizons are a lot longer, which, I'm in this now 8 years. I plan on being in probably at 5 or 10, right? Like I will be, so my sister will take over from there. But that being said, those clients, their investment strategies ring true to me because I know that we'll just put up the best products and they'll have a long relationship. We'll take care of those systems and we'll continue to have decades worth of investments together, where we're protecting their asset and they're trying to protect their asset. So or just help extending the lifespan of the system. And so maybe we talk about that in a completely separate video, but we have a lunch and learn training coming up with a group of engineers to take a look at how to repair and maintain these systems. And they just want to give their clients the best recommendation. Oh, told you. So maybe we have to prop this up here. What do we do? A stick of deodorant? Let's go for it. Okay. Yeah. A lot of the big dudes in the industry, they got their own studios. And good for them. We're starting out small. We're going to have to deal with it, okay? We'll make adjustments, but it looks like she might stay. Gonna be close. Okay, so Wholesome, Swiss firm, possible ties with BlackRock, unfortunately. And the likes of them we were talking about are upselling all these different parts and the accessories because they know that's the most profitable vertical, where they go and they say that we'll sell the system, but they have to install our accessories as well, right? Some fucking bullshit. Selling more roofing material, get it. Smart on them. Ultimately, to give you a better warranty, which is not, it's supposed to be the peace of mind that sells more systems, right? But the best warranty is the warranty you never need, both on the workmanship and the product side. So Wholesome had acquired Malarkey 3 or 4 years ago, and it was like $3 or $4 billion, which is huge, pretty big. And they recognize, they do their research and development, and they had already in the portfolio Firestone. They already had Duro-last, quote, the world's best roof on the PVC side, who is apparently now going to be opening up TPO to compete with Genflex, another sister company in the portfolio, which is a TPO membrane single ply. So Malarkey gave me the exposure I wanted to kind of see who's at the top, to see where Wholesome's at as a company and what they believe. And so I think they'd also acquired GACO in the Firestone acquisition, which is pretty much the exact same thing as Genflex, just a different brand on it. So don't quote me on that, but the reason why I say that is because if I go and I order a Genflex system for my building owners and the supplier delivers some Firestone accessories, I call my Genflex rep. I'm like, hey, is this what's going on here? It kind of looks a little weird because I'm trying to install a different manufacturer. And they go, oh, no, it's fine. It's the same shit. It's owned by the same company. It is, but just looks trustworthy as a contractor installing on the roof system when there's a Firestone product and a Genflex logo on the same system, even though the NDL still stands and they qualify the roof and everything's good. It's just they're moving away from it, which is what I want. But like, why am I not getting the Firestone cert if I'm installing a Genflex system with a Genflex warranty and they're putting Firestone rolls in my project and the reps are all cool with it? So it just doesn't make sense. Give me the last 5 out of 5, please. Pretty please. Firestone now Elevate, right? So they had to rebrand, I'm sure. So that was part of the acquisition, I bet. Firestone being, your classic tire company, does a lot of rubber roofs too, obviously, because it's a tire product almost, right? So Genflex being the 20-year for the 60 mil product, basically going to be best applied on your warehouses, your office buildings, multifamily. Generally going to be pretty good for low traffic applications. And I mean, like if you have excessive amounts of RTU, or if you're industrial and you've got massive maintenance plans for the RTUs on there and they're bringing up all sorts of different equipment, this and that, you might want something a little more durable. So obviously you can then bring in walk pads and all the other different safety stuff. So that being said though, Genflex led me into looking at, okay, what's the Cadillac of flat roofs? And that's when we had the introduction to Duro-last. And since Duro-last has been one of our favorite products to install, there was another PVC manufacturer where the relationship fell through. They had the opportunity to do the right thing, and I had to step up for the client. And that manufacturer, IB, can go fuck off, because they had the story is they had guided my teams on NDL training. They had guided the install process with on-site supervision, thumbed up the entire process, gave us the warranty go ahead, and when something came up, they said, nope, sorry, bud. And so got the hold the bag on that one. And so in the best interest of our client, we're stepping up saying, hey, manufacturer's not going to hold this one. We're going to go ahead and take care of you on it. And so that's just what you do for long lasting relationships. And so they can go blow. And so I stuck with Wholesome after that, left a bad taste in my mouth, and tens of thousands of dollars later, I'm like, cool, we're a Wholesome brand now, where I know everyone in the family circle sitting at the table is like in it for everyone to win it, and has the values of ongoing training and the relationships that we need. So Duro-last comes into the picture, and so PVC in general, there's different types of PVC, but PVC is going to be a better product for your industrial and your restaurant applications, your chemical stuff, like maybe some other chemistry buildings at Oregon State. The off-gassing, basically the animal fats in restaurants can react with the membrane in a little bit different way. And the PVC has been a tried and true product that's stand now almost 60 years worth of research and development, where I know that the TPO membrane finally has reached to a kind of a steadiness in the chemistry, but has also changed recipes basically over time. It's one of the reasons why too I started getting a little piped up. I was like, I heard you're not supposed to mix and match TPOs. You're not supposed to swap manufacturers. The Carlisles, the John Manns, and the Wholesomes, they all use a different chemistry. And so we've got a little story out off of 82nd. Someone tried welding TPO to PVC as an example. It just didn't work. Okay. You can have the same exact result with different manufacturers on the TPO side or the PVC side of it. The chemistry just doesn't bond, doesn't hold. And so you get cold welds, you get cold weld pops, all the different things, not proper adhesion. So different chemistry has different melt temps too when you're using the welders. So don't mix and match products. That's just the low and simple there. So You can get away with it a little more in the steep slope side of things or metal, but like you can't do that with the membrane. So Wholesome though did their R&D so that we could have the peace of mind to make sure that our clients are taken care of from the top down. We've had to optimize the Malarkey systems to do our approach for inside out roofing and the steep slope side of things. We don't have any metal here in this. We should talk about metal actually. So we've tested other local distributors. They're not manufacturers of the coil. They bring in the coil. The manufacturers are the ones that have the relationship with the Kynar paint industry, and they go and they coat their paint so that way they can stand by standard warranty. Now the distributors have certified roll forming machines. So we use Taylor Metals out of Salem, and we've actually since moved away from another brand, one of the other industry leaders here in town, because a little bit of distance, but also just a slower turnaround on the critical information we need to give our customers the best experience possible. And so I'm not going to name them out. They're still a great company, great local company out of Estacada. It's just I wanted to have the best ammo in the chamber to be able to call shots for my clients and their projects to make sure everything was flowing as smooth as possibly. And Taylor Metals out of Salem, just tried and true, come out with the best products, the best Kynar stuff, the best consistency, stands up for any issues that happen more around the logistics side, had been around longer, bigger firm, all the different things. But again, they have the certified machines so that what you need to have is quarterly or monthly inspections on your roll formers to make sure that your panels are coming out nice and straight the way that the manufacturer expects them, so they can do what's called a weather-tight warranty. And the weather-tight warranty is basically an NDL warranty for metal. So you have a lot of metal details in the flashing and how you install the panels to make it watertight. And you can actually have a flat roof, get metal, and still hold water and be warrantable. And it looks great, performs great. It's a little more expensive, but that's going to be your mechanically locked panels. So we love Taylor Metals because they're typically the ones that did the groundwork to basically go and let all the architects know that, hey, we got you when it comes to making sure your specs are on point. When your clients are building out, a $50 million apartment complex, we'll go and make sure that everything's buttoned down properly. We'll vet out the installers. We'll train the installers. So we stick with Taylor Metals with that regard. And then on the gutter side of things, it's hard to recommend any gutter guards these days. They all kind of overpromise and overdeliver. The product does function under certain applications, but it's hard to recommend one particular manufacturer because they don't all cross over very well. The gutter guard industry is kind of like that accessory that works well for deciduous leaves. You got leafy plants and stuff or trees around, but like if you got half the buildings around Portland are all evergreen, coniferous pine needles, like good luck. You're going to have maintenance visits every month or every other month, and you're going to be upset when you went and bought this thing that you thought was going to be the end all be all. And that's actually a story I have about my Costco origins, was that product that gotten kicked out of Costco because it sucks. It was a helmet style nose forward design, and great maybe for the East Coast where deciduous leaves are a thing, and that's where a lot of their reviews were coming from, but didn't transfer over to the pine needles of the Northwest, and people were getting overpromised. And then there's just a bunch of other things functionally with the pollen pop and the bloom coming, like just nose forward designs are terrible for pine needles. So look at guard leaf, right? So wink wink, they also can kick sand. I'm sure a lot of people would say like that shit's garbage. They're predatory, just like the solar industry. We don't vet any solar. We'll go in solar prep all day. We'll get your brackets and your roof watertight, but we don't touch solar. That shit's still a scam. That's a smash and grab industry. High pressure sales also just brought in a lot of the worst of the quote sales reps from the roofing industry or any other car sales industry, you name it, for basically creating high pressure sales that are predatory for people that have like this pipe dream of a end result solution that they think they're going to replace their solar bill and get paid back, when actually you're just swapping your solar bill and turning into a financing plan that locks you into a plan that lasts even longer right? And the terms are longer than the panels will even last. So solar is garbage. Stay away from solar, in my opinion. Stay away from gutter guards. Stay away from solar panels unless you got deciduous leaves. So now there are some people that have maybe a better ROI where solar makes sense if they're going with a better panel. If they have, and that's probably actually the limitation of what I have experience with. But we looked into becoming a Tesla certified solar installer, but I think people at this point in time, they should understand that the tried and true products are going to be the things that stand the test of time, even though they may not last long. But for the ROI, like hopefully people don't have to replace on the residential side more than a couple roofs in their own lifetime. It depends on their lifestyle, I guess, and their moving history and their geographic placement. But that being said, on the gutter side of things, we like to stick to a similar kind of coated product where we know the paint warranty is going to be 30 plus years. Also, the aluminum systems are going to be, we call it never rust as well. And so those products, those systems are designed to last decades and decades and not have any issues with ferrous, rust, or any of the other things that come from aging gutters, right? Broken seams, UV resistant seal. We want to make sure that gutter system is going to outlast the roof. And so we stand by those with lifetime guarantees as well. And so we want to really just put up products that we don't have to touch again. And we want to do it and install it in a way where we don't have to see it unless you want to have a cleaning done or some small maintenance that you should do preventively on the annual scale, okay? So I told you we're going to give you some tidbits, the insider trading knowledge, right? What's going on here on the backside? Recent news leaks coming from these higher up, very interesting dynamic to see the administration invite these higher level CEOs to go meet with the Dubai families and to see what the reason why the Dubai families are probably getting involved. And the reason why you see them BlackRock dudes and all those other high-level people that are trillions of dollars in bed with each other. And, that's like something that we don't see. We see like the $1 billion news. What they don't release is the $1 trillion news, right? But we just saw it. And so there were all these posts that were coming out like, well, we didn't tell you what stocks to invest in, but it's kind of obvious, right? And I'm not a stocks guy, right? I don't have diamond hands. I got burned on it, but there's 2 cents on what's going on here. And it relates to that in a little bit of a way because one of the investors that was in that Arab meeting, I could say Arab, right? Like I just got back from a Morocco surf trip and like these are all those type of countries, I guess. And so forgive me if I'm wrong, right? I'm not educated. I'm a ding-dong American. Like, I just don't do enough research, unfortunately. So the investor groups that were there, I guarantee you, they were looking to tap into limitless wealth, to have investors behind them. And this is we're going to talk after this, actually. We're going to jump into private equity. And actually, we're going to go ahead and end this video after we give you the 2 cents. We're going to jump right back in to fire off on private equity, I think, because that's kind of where we're going into this, is that the private equity guys are on the back end funded by a different type of underwriter, which there's a tier, right? So these multi-billion-dollar private equity firms are buying up all the mom and pop shops. You've seen it across all of the HVAC industry in the last couple decades. It's happening now since the pandemic through all of the roofing industry, and to the point now where all of my top competition in Portland, just on the review level, are all privately owned backed companies. So they say family owned, and I've got my own strategy for taking you guys on. Good fucking luck, right? I've got guys coming from your firms that are telling me what's going on. And I'm like, let's fucking rock and roll, boys. Like, this is going to be fun. So we're going to have a good old-fashioned showdown this summer and till the end of time. Like, we're gonna go toe-to-toe with you guys until I get taken out or something. You know, if I get bit by a shark tonight, we'll see. But that being said, though, when I see those meetings at the highest level, we see that $1 billion news. We don't see the $1 trillion news. We just saw the cream at the top, right? We saw the people brushing shoulders at the $1 trillion level, right? Like, we're talking multi-trillions of dollars of just unheard of, obviously, energy-related wealth, okay? You know, when you're talking about harvesting energy from the sun or pulling it out of the earth's crust, like, and it's not overpriced. It's actually underpriced, right? Those energies, we only see like 50 to 100 years worth of different types of wealth when it gets that trillions of years. What happens when we go another 100 years, right? And all of a sudden it's like, they're at millions of trillions of dollars, right? Like, then it doesn't even make sense, right? It's hard for the mind to kind of conceptualize that detail. It's like trying to go out to the edges of the universe. It's like, whoa, you know? So when you see those guys, and that's the problem with private equities, they're all tapping into that $1 billion, multi-billion dollar, and eventually here now, $1 trillion backed private equity. How does a small fry guy compete, right? This is what Tommy Mello was talking about. Like, if you don't get out now, which is part of the reason why I'm staying in, because, like, I kind of want to play against them, right? I want to learn. I want to fight. I want to fucking get after it, right? So these private equity guys, though, they're backed by the billions of dollars in private equity firms, which all tap into the trillionaires, okay? How do you go against these firms that can just saturate the market with lead capture? And how they do that is they don't care about the money. Let's throw millions of dollars in marketing in. Let's squash all the competition out, right? And so, excuse me, that's on the residential side, okay? So when you get your flyers and your mailers in there and you see these previously older generational, quote, family-owned companies, they're fucking lying. They're privately owned, backed motherfuckers that are coming in to steal. Granted, I'm not sour about it. What they're gonna do is fuck over the customer's trust and relationship, because it's a smash and grab like solar, where they're going in to just create revenue, to treat you like a fucking number. They don't give a shit about your roof. They don't give a shit about your family or your building, right? So, and that's the difference. If I'm teaching my team anything, I'm telling them, you know what the winners are going to look like in 5 or 10 years, regardless of what the economy does. You know, and we're going to start to end this too after we talk about the tidbit, and we'll go in and try to nip it at the butt exactly an hour. The winners in any industry are always going to be the ones that care the most, right? The ones that care the most. The ones that care the most are the best listeners. They're the best note takers, right? They ask the best questions. They train the hardest, and they install the best products, the best industry standard way, right? They continue to sharpen their blade. And so I know that now I'm getting reps that are coming in at me from these other companies, and they're all the private equity companies in town. And they're saying, oh, shit's going south. They're telling us we got to hit KPIs that are going to raise prices so high that if we don't sell, right? And again, we've never sold a fucking roof in our company's history, right? We lead through education. We build the trust by extending value. The reason why we're full service, repair, maintain, restore, before we have the conversation about replacement, is because the trust factor of caring enough to do the small things well, to build a relationship that's going to last, right? On any front. I think the businesses that'll be around that aren't going to be gobbled up by the big guys are going to be the ones that care the most. So that being said, Wholesome's opening a American stock ticker in the next 30 days come June 2025. Amrise, it's public knowledge. It's not secret. Basically, the Black Rocks of the world are going to make sure that shit goes to the moon. You got to jump on board. That's my 2 cents for everything that we install. I can't do any better for you. So maybe we go in and we show you actually installing the product. So we're doing all this talk and we give you a little bit of action. So anyway, that's how we flow. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Ciao.